So yeah, welcome to this short webinar. So today we're going to talk about my good old friend SAP IDM. Started my career actually with SAP IDM, so I am biased since I had a long time with SAP IDM, and we're going to go into what will change once the IDM is end of life. So you have to act now, and we're now more going to focus on what remains and what could be taken over while migrating to a new solution other than SAP IDM. So just a short word for us. So yeah, I'm part of IC Consult. We have more than 850 employees all over the world, and are now international since a few years, and are grown rapidly on the IAM market, and yeah, doing webinars for SAP IDM. So let's get to it. SAP IDM, just thought we'll do a short view into the past, how SAP IDM came to fruition at SAP. I also sometimes heard it's not a real SAP product back then. That might be true because yeah, SAP has not yet started during that time to buy so many other companies. So the SAP landscape was pretty much core ABAP, R3 systems, later on S4, but none of the bought products. But SAP IDM was one of the bought products. So it was built by Maxware in Norway, and then the whole company was bought by SAP, and the product was renamed into SAP Identity Management. And yeah, since SAP needed a way to connect their products to an access management, and here SAP IDM seemed like a good solution, and was a good solution during that time. And yeah, is mainly was taken for yeah, provisioning into SAP systems and using it to get the SAP landscape compliant. Yeah, funny thing is that it also supported other databases. I guess that's because it was bought by Maxware. So it supported Oracle databases, IDM DB2, Microsoft SQL, and later on also SAP AZ, which was discontinued as a database, also transact based. And mainly all the installation I've seen so far were either with Oracle, or mainly, and especially at the end, were Microsoft SQL installations. Yeah, and the interesting part where we're gonna focus on today is that it also relied on other products to enhance the functionality. So SAP IDM was basically mostly used, at least how I saw it in my past, as provisioning systems, so pushing the data into the ABAP systems, into the other SAP systems, but was not mainly used for access request, although that's possible. And this was done by other components. Yeah, so for me, when you have an SAP IDM, not always, but mostly companies also had SAP Access Control, or how it was called in the past, SAP GRC, Global Risk and Controlling, together with SAP IDM. So that was mostly used in conjunction. Access requests, usually how I did it in the past, were done via GRC, not IDM. So since we had the ARA, the risk analysis already implemented in this as well. So this was done mainly by GRC, how it was done in my past. So this is a component that could remain once SAP IDM was decommissioned. And also in the past, it was always a discussion between the engineers, should SAP IDM do the provisioning to the ABAP systems, or should the GRC do the provisioning? So it's a bit of an oddball if you come from an outside perspective, because GRC could provision into ABAP systems, R3 systems directly. without using SAP IDM, although this was mainly mainly done by the SAP IDM, and SAP IDM took care of non-ABAP systems mainly then. So all the processes were bought, but also the new cloud systems or systems which were simply not based on ABAP were then used for provisioning with SAP IDM. And usually there was also a standard connector. So for example, when SuccessFactors was bought, there was a standard connector for HR SuccessFactors, and this was then done by IDM and not by GRC. So risk analysis and segregation of duties, that's not usually done in SAP IDM, which is an important key factor today. And also access analysis was not really an IDM task. So we had some reportings in there, but that's not how it was used mainly. Then we come to a newer product, which I was one of the early adopters of. Since SAP bought so many external companies, the big issue was in the past how to connect those systems. So you bought an SAP Concur, and there was a RESTful interface. There was no ABAP. There was no standard way of doing things, how you are used to do it in SAP systems. The same goes for SuccessFactors and many other companies that have been bought. And SAP IDM was more an on-premise system, was built to take care of the old SAP world. And also the key, SAP didn't want to invest into on-premise products anymore. So building a new connector for SAP IDM, like the SuccessFactors connector, was one of the last on-premise connectors that have been built for SAP IDM, but all new connectors should be cloud-based, and that's where SAP IPS came into play here. So SAP IPS, Identity Provisioning Service, could be used as a standalone product. It's not sold standalone anymore, so if you buy an S4HANA, mostly this is bundled with an S4HANA installation, but also other products. So meaning if you have SAP or a more modern SAP product in your house, you will probably also have access to SAP Identity Provisioning Service, either even if you didn't know, or sometimes it's not even used, because many departments, IDM departments in the past, were used to building their own custom connectors, especially with SAP IDM. But this was a good way to go to a standard connector without really modifying SAP IDM. And that's the key point we're going to take with us today. And this new provisioning service took then care of the SAP cloud portfolio. So to connect an SAP Concur, to connect SuccessFactors, you could also run it in into source target mode, meaning you take information from your Active Directory or from Azure and then push it into an SAP system. So things like that were possible, and the interface that was used to push data to IPS was the scheme connection. Pardon me. So either, which will probably be the case in many organizations, you have custom built connectors for your SAP IDM to take care of SAP cloud systems, or if you were offered IPS or were open enough to jump on the bandwagon, then your connectors which you use for the SAP cloud systems are connected via SAP IPS. Yeah. So then let's go to a modern IGA solution. So yeah, today's market, I also put some solutions on there which are not directly IGA systems, but today's market is a lot bigger than it was in the past, and we have many players on the market which are also partners of IC Consult, which could fulfill your IGA needs for your SAP landscape, but it always depends on how your company is built, where your company is going, what's the focus in future. So there are many possibilities to choose a new system today. We're not going to go into an what needs to be done during a migration project. I think there have been already some webinars around this topic, and we will also do webinars together with our partners on an SAP IDM migration. So this will be covered in another webinar, but just to show you a few solutions which are out there and could possibly be a player here for your new solution. You might have noticed I put some products on there which are not really IGA solutions yet. So Microsoft is getting there, and Nexus is more of a business role tool for role mining, for role creation. So for your GRC needs, or if you don't have GRC in work, but you need a tool, for example, for business roles, then Nexus can be a good solution. Also, IPS is practically a middleware, so you use your SCIM interface and then you push the data to an SAP system. But the same can be done with, for example, Azure code snippets with Microsoft. So Microsoft can also use the Azure landscape to build small connectors, fastly built middleware, which can then be adapted so that your new solution doesn't need to do this directly, but you can build an abstract layer similar to what SAP IPS was and is. So with a new modern IGA solution, I'm just going to quickly go down here. You get a wide range of connectors supported by the vendor. So most of the vendors, if not all, they support SAP systems. But then with the new cloud SAP systems, already you have to check which vendor is then natively supporting this. Here you could say, okay, yeah, maybe we're going to keep something from the old world. The same goes for frameworks. So each IGA system has a framework and standards to be worked by. So you have to change a bit of your you have to change your governance here to adapt to the new product. Yeah. And you also have to think about, will I go full SaaS? So many vendors say, okay, we can all do the standard. You go to SaaS, you don't need any customizations anymore. Coming from SAP, knowing how SAP works, this might not work 100%, but with a few methods I showed. So for example, the Azure code snippets that can be used, or SAP IPS, maybe you can make it work with SaaS, but you should take your time, step back a bit, and really look at, do we need customizations in the future? What customizations did we do? Do we need to customize our new IGA system then because of the customizations we did in the past? So if you have special fields and everything, it could be easy. So especially for SAP IPS, a lot of things can just be added, and then you can also add custom fields, but this needs to be looked at before you just choose a system and say, go for it. The biggest change will be, since I mentioned with SAP IDM, most of these SAP IDM didn't have this risk analysis and governance really going for it. And with the new products, you normally always have a risk analysis and governance in there. So you can do segregation of duties. You can do risk scoring, so know which employee is really a high-risk employee and needs further protection. You can do full reports on this. That's all part of the standard IGA solutions which are out there these days, and you have your reporting and everything. So that's something you don't have to take care so much anymore in the future, but of course you still have to think about which entitlement, which roles are risky, and how to put up your risk score, but you have all in one solution. You don't need 3 solutions to do this. Also, some solutions have also an abstract layer, so similar like SAP IPS in a modern IGA solution. You also have cloud connectors, which of course then could cost money or could be an extra. So that's also something you have to think about. Should I do this? Do I need this? How much will it cost me? Compared to if I build my own connector, and also the customization, which I think when you're using SAP IDM, you're already used to. So it makes sense to think about standardization and slowly take the step that way. Yeah. And one of the most important features, I would say, once you change to an IGA solution, since the market is not monolithic, we have many applications out there which claim that they can fulfill all your IGA needs. They are in competition. They will offer you new features on a regular basis. They will update and improve their product. So coming from IDM, I think the last update was IDM. I stopped with IDM 8.0 Service Pack 5. And right now, I think we're still on 8.0 Service Pack 5, which is quite some time, I think 5 years or so in between. So you see, IDM was not really updated anymore. We have IPS for this, but you can't expect any bigger features. While with a modern IGA solution, sometimes you will get new features. Big thing right now is the ServiceNow integration, where all the vendors jump on. Being a one-stop shop together with ServiceNow, which funnily Bill McDermott went to. So you almost stick with SAP, and that's features you will get with a modern IGA solution. If you're interested in how to do a project in switching your IGA solution and moving from SAP IDM to a modern IGA solution, we will do some webinars with our partners, and we will go into basics of how to start such a project. And my focus today is what can we reuse and possibly save time during this migration, and also still use SAP's best of breed approach together with a modern IGA solution. So why not connect directly via a new IGA solution? Yeah, so acquired or new cloud SAP systems, they have different access concepts. So it can be tricky to handle in that way. You always have different interfaces. Yeah, the same goes for not all SAP systems are maybe directly supported by the vendor. So when Concur came out, then of course no IGA vendor had Concur as a connector. Now they have, but you always have some time in between. And it could be that in this case, SAP IPS might be faster with pushing out the connector once the company is acquired. So it's always worth looking both ways. Do we have standard connector from the vendor? Great, we can use it. The vendor will take care of updating the connector. The vendor will take care of updating the whole solution. So if something in the API changes, if you have a custom build, you have to change it yourself. If it's provided by a vendor, should it be SAP IPS or should it be direct the connector from the vendor, then they will take care of updating it. And this is costs and cost savings you have in the future by not taking care of this yourself anymore, but rather sourcing this to the vendor to take care of these connectors. Yeah. So since we have different connection standards, it might make sense to use SAP IPS, since you can expose the SCIM interface as a standard interface. So your IGA solution can always use the SCIM connector, which every IGA solution has right now. And then you can modify this SCIM call and transform it in SAP IPS to suit the needs you have for your SAP system or also sometimes non-SAP systems. So it can also be used to push data into Azure. It can also be used to push data into Active Directory. So it can be used in a wide range of ways without really using an IGA to push data from A to B. And it's normally included in an SAP product or a modern cloud product. So you don't have to really acquire the licenses. Although, depending on the model of SAP, you have to check how many calls during the day are possible, and will I get extra charge if I use this cloud connector? So how many calls, and will this cost extra or not? Yeah. So with that, we already have a support of a wide range support of SAP products. And as I said, it's normally bundled. So you can use it. I saw a lot of companies recently. I saw a demo where they used SAP IPS to connect SuccessFactors, HR SuccessFactors to their landscape, and just use it as a, pardon me, as a middleware to, yeah, not get into too much details of connecting this solution to the IGA solution directly, but rather using IPS and then skim for all the attributes that were needed. So that was a good solution and quick and fast. It could help with reducing costs here and also using what was already connected. So if you have systems already connected to IPS, you can just simply switch IDM, which is also using a skim interface to communicate with SAP IPS, and then put your new IGA system in between. So it will still do the standard IGA call. You have to check your data, and then you can reuse your connection without putting much effort into it. So that's a part of the IDM landscape that could remain in your company and would still make sense to use in the future. So getting to SAP Access Control or SAP GRC, yeah, so the new governance features of IGA solutions, they are not really tailored for this SAP approach. So they can do risk scoring, they can do SOD metrics, but SAP is really special. And in most companies I've seen, even though they had an IGA solution, they always had a special tool for the roles in SAP systems, if only for analysis, for checking if there are any SOD conflicts, but also for provisioning sometimes. So everything in this company was done by an IGA solution, but the provisioning and the SOD check was done then by a different system, since SAP, at least SAP R3, SAP S4 is sometimes so special with the role set that it's hard to try to tailor a non-SAP solution to an SAP solution. And it's also a lot of work. So some companies have 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 roles or even more business roles, so all already consolidated, and then trying to reinvent the wheel, trying to do this all again could be really, really cumbersome, could be also a deal breaker for your timeline. And here, there's partially good news. We could and can reuse SAP GRC for your SAP roles, for your SAP systems, while you already are using a new IGA solution. So many IGA solutions are offering a connector those days for SAP GRC, and you can then think about how to integrate GRC and also the risk scoring, the risk analysis, and the segregation of duty with your new IGA solution. So there's no need to completely redo all of this work. You can do this in future. So if you decide to move away completely from SAP products, of course you can do this in an IGA solution. But if you decide that this can stay for now to save us some work, and also there will be a new SAP Access Control in 2026, so it's not completely dead yet, then this is a solution you can take to save time and not overburden your SAP teams with a new software. Since they know GRC, they know how to handle it, and they can continue working in a similar way, not the same way I would say, but in a similar way than the previous installation. So how these things work is you connect your GRC to the IGA solution, and you can either say, okay, I'm just going to take the risk analysis and the risk scoring, which can be then done via a web call, and it's pushed back to the IGA system again, and put together with your other risk scoring aspects. So you now have a full overview. So in the past, SAP was always on its own. So also some companies already have an other IGA solution, but they're using IDM for SAP. And then with the risk scoring, you had to disconnect. So you didn't know, does this person have high risk roles in SAP, while the rest of the landscape actually looks green. So you look into this one solution and you get a green dot for this person being fine, not being high risk for the company, whilst in reality, would you go to GRC, you would see it's deep red. There are many roles given to this person. The person could get firefighter access and so forth. So there could be conflicts. You didn't have the whole view, and with a new solution, you can get the whole view of your risk and your conflicts by still keeping a GRC in the mix for now. So no immediate rework is needed for roles and SLD matrices. Some, not all, but that can also be implemented, have already dedicated GRC connectors. So you could directly connect GRC to your new IGA solution, and then you can extend your risk scoring with data from GRC. So really pulling this data from GRC into your new IGA solution, and then not only have a view on the SAP world, but on your whole IT landscape, and can make sure that your whole SAP landscape is compliant. Yeah. So this concludes my short webinar on what technologies can still be reused or can be used to save time on moving your SAP IDM project to a new IGA solution. And I would now be open for questions. Manuela.
Yeah, thanks, David, for giving us such a great overview of the SAP solutions and options for modern IGA. And yeah, I want to encourage you to use the chat function to ask your question. And the first one will be, will SAP GRC also be out of maintenance in 2027?
Yes and no. So GRC will stay, but there will be a new solution based on SAP HANA. So if you want to stay with GRC, and that's again why you need to have a close look on what you want to keep for now, what you want to keep forever, you will need to migrate to an S4 HANA system to use SAP Access Control in future. So this will come, it will still be supported, and another part of this will also be interesting, how much of this will move to SAP IGA as well, because SAP IGA is now the new cloud solution that SAP brought out for the SAP cloud landscape. So the last time I used that product, it was not ready yet, or I couldn't really use it completely. But step by step, they will improve this product to be a replacement for SAP GRC. Sorry, then go ahead.
Great. What is SAP IAG's role in the IGA space?
Yeah. So I get out of myself. So IAG will take care of the cloud products in future from SAP. So it was started, I would say, like a GRC or Access Control Lite. And in future, this product should be used, or SAP wants this product to be used for the cloud. It is possible to also connect SAP Access Control to IAG. So you have the full functionality then. because as a standalone right now, this product, last time I checked it, it's already 2 years ago. It was not ready yet for really being used as a standalone. So I would always use it in a bridge. But you also have to think about, will we go then to the cloud with SAP in future and use this solution for at least risk and access control, or will we completely switch to a dedicated IGA solution and move away from GRC and IGA in the long run, simply for cost savings?
Okay. Next question is, how close is the Entra ID solution to being capable for SAP governance? Hopeful or not really?
Well, for governance, it's coming along, but I don't think we can really use it for governance right now. Not even just for SAP, but also for other solutions. That will quickly change, I guess. So if you will hear this webinar half a year from now, you might think, what is this guy talking about? Because Microsoft is heavily investing into Entra ID, and we see a lot of progress there. But I don't really see Entra ID being capable of taking over governance tasks, especially for SAP right now. Where you can use Entra, of course, is then using code snippets and Azure Functions, which is similar to SAP BTP, so SAP Business Technology Platform. You can quickly do your workflows and with a low-code environment get what you want, and that could help you, especially if you go for a SaaS solution, to remediate anything. So if you need to modify something which can't be done by the SaaS solution directly, you can use either BTP, you can use Azure Functions to change this, but you can't use these concepts right now for governance. I don't see this right now. Let's talk in another year. Maybe that's going to be a different story.
All right. Next question is, are there any infos about support of UI5 or SAP IDM REST API regarding other IDM systems, or information about mapping the API to another one?
Let's see, that's the special things you do with, well, it's not special, it's, the API is part of the standard. But to my knowledge, I've only seen on the market GRC connectors, so access control connectors. I don't see a direct SAP REST implementation with the vendors. But what you can do is, of course, you could either use middleware, BTP or Azure Functions, and also a lot of vendors have this capability built in, so you can take a REST function and then build that into the IGA solution, your new IGA solution. So they can take REST calls, you can modify it, and then directly integrate with your old SAP IDM solution, or can then mimic this API. So your new solution, because they also have API calls, direct calls, where you don't need to use the interface to then translate this from old SAP RESTful API logic into new IGA logic. That's possible, but mainly with middleware. And for UI5, I'm sorry, so UI5, that's just the SAP's space. So if you would do RESTful calls or something from a UI5 application, then yes, but I don't see a direct UI5 integration in IGA systems. I haven't seen this yet. So if you have your own portal for requesting access built in UI5, then you have to check which APIs are offered by this IGA solution to integrate it, because I don't know any native solutions. Our Center of Excellence might know something else, but I have not seen a native UI5 implementation for other IGA systems.
Okay, and would IAG be used for managing non-SAP systems?
Mainly, that's not a focus of SAP. Sometimes they do. So especially when it's systems which are common in a company. So SAP IDM also supported Active Directory, of course, and so IGA is also going to support some of the products there, but I don't think it's going to be used for governance for other non-SAP products, simply because not that SAP is not capable of it, it's just not a strategy, I would say, from SAP. They're not making their money with IGA and governance tools. It's a must-have for them. They have to offer this for their systems. Companies expect and demand that the systems are safe, but all other applications are not in scope of SAP. So I don't see any ambition from SAP to jump on the IGA market and take over with their IAG solution and also support other products. It could be that some are supported, but it will never be a mainstream IGA solution, as for example, Umada, One Identity, Savient, or SailPoint. Yeah.
Then there's a question to another software called XAMS by Exciting. I don't know if I pronounce it correct. The question is, if you know the software, it is comparable to the modern solutions.
Knowing would be a lie. I heard of it. I saw some of the software, but I can't give you an answer yet on this topic. I have to read into that, and so I won't give you an answer on that. I know my old SAP stuff. I don't know the new products around that were built around SAP, but I can say that a lot of companies are not using, for example, GRC, but are using third-party solutions for the governance. So that's always a topic that you will have during such a migration, because doing an I don't know the English word for it, Lizenzvermessung, so finding out which licenses are used by your roles, for example, is an important topic in SAP. So it's going to cost a lot of money if you're using the role which has entitlements in it, which are never really used by the person, so you pay extra license costs, and that's always a topic that you have with such an SAP migration. How can the existing tools fit in with the new solution? But I can't give you an answer on Exciting, I'm sorry.
All right, so that's the question so far. If other questions come up, don't hesitate to contact us. Thanks, David, for your time. The session was recorded, so everybody will get the recording afterwards. And yeah, that's it from our side. Anything else from your side, David?
Yeah, feel free to reach out to me via LinkedIn or my email, and I'm happy to hear from you. Have a nice day, and thank you for joining. Thank you, Manuela.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.